Lana brought up the fact, and we talked about this a little bit last week, and the more and more that I see what the plan is from the Republican Party, and if it wasn't obvious already, they're making it more and more obvious now, is they are looking for a Christian nationalist country. That's exactly what they want. And they think that bringing this Christian nationalist type country is going to solve every one of their either what they think are problems or their made up problems. Right. So there's a couple clips I want to play, but I saw this article on it, and I'm going to read a couple things if that's okay, about Christian nationalism. And it kind of spells out the difference between Christian nationalism and Christian people who kind of are getting the raw deal on this whole thing. But this article defines Christian nationalism is the belief that America is defined by Christianity and the government should take steps to keep it that way. That America is and must remain a Christian nation, that our country's laws should be based upon the teachings of Christianity, and any other source of grounding other than that is detrimental and destructive to her long-term well-being and must be resisted and opposed. Christian nationalists believe America is the new Israel, that God has raised her up, placed a divine calling upon her, and assigned her a preferred and providential place among the nations of the world. They have fused Christianity with our national culture in ways that tarnish the essence of authentic faith in Jesus. They are trying to bring about life change through cultural change rather than cultural change being the product of genuine life change. It's at odds with the message of the gospel and the teachings of Jesus. So that's how the article defines Christian nationalism. Do you have any comments about that? Anything that stuck out?
Of the Constitution, right? Because the Constitution says not to make laws based in religion.
Yeah, and I think there are some people that think that that is not the case, that they go, that's technically not in the Constitution. That is, but the founders have made it clear that they want the separation of church and state that's not something that we heard over the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. That is something that was originated during the foundation of this country, is that the founders wanted a clear separation of church and state. And for me, it's really even more amazing to me that they thought about this back then, because Christianity and God and all that stuff was way more prevalent. Now you have more people who don't believe than you have people that do believe.
Exactly. And that's the crazy thing. It's like the fucking nerve of you to want to make laws based in Christianity when everyone's not a Christian.
Right.
What the fuck is that? And you and your uncommitted vote Muslims, do you think that they want America to have you in it? Absolutely not. They've been telling us everything that Trump did the last time, the Muslim bans, whatever other nonsense he wanted to do is coming back tenfold. These people are not playing. The plans are being put in place. This Alabama IVF thing, this is just the tip of the iceberg. They're coming for abortion pills. They're coming for birth control. Pretty soon you will not be able to have your hysterectomy unless there's a problem. You just can't have it. Wait, are you still baby age? No, you cannot have a hysterectomy. You have to keep your uterus. It's going to be crazy. It just is.
Lana, what's are they just so hell-bent on it that they're going to push it no matter what? Because it does not seem popular with anybody other than the maybe 25 to 30% of the people who are buying into it.
Do they care what's popular with the majority of the people?
They're trying to win. So you think, why are they pushing it so hard if they're trying to win?
They're trying to backtrack on this one, right?
On the IVF.
Right, because you hear Trump saying that, and then Trump tried to backtrack on the abortion ban. He's like, oh, you can have it up until 16 weeks. That's a nice even number.
Right. That's that's the reason reportedly why he said 16 weeks, because it was an even number, not because he had some fuck. I'm not even gonna get into the fucking mindset of that fucking idiot. But it does surprise me that they are going full force with this. In fact, there are some Republicans, MAGA Republicans, who are concerned that they are pushing this so hard now, because I think the strategy for the people who do have the concern are the ones like, pull back on it a little bit and then we'll tear it up once we get in office.
Exactly. Exactly. They're gonna gas.
And that's why I'm saying that's why I don't understand the strategy right now, other than they live in that bubble where they are surrounded by so many people saying, please do this, please do this, please do this. And I don't think they realize how much they're hurting their ultimate cause, which I'm thrilled with, because the more they do it, the less of a chance they're going to have voters that are going to come out and not just vote for them, but vote against them. And some people will say, oh, so you're just going to have people come out and vote against Donald Trump and not even for Joe Biden. I'm like, I don't give a flying fuck why they come out to vote. If they do it, whether they're voting for Biden, which I am, I know for a fact that's why I'm voting. And, and if it wasn't Joe Biden and it was somebody else that I couldn't stand, I definitely would not be voting for Donald Trump. So here's what they say, how Christianity differs from Christian nationalism. Christianity is a belief system based on the teaching and work of Jesus. You've heard of Jesus?
Jesus?
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes. A Jesus who said his agenda was to transform lives and build a kingdom that was not of this world. He made this point abundantly clear when he stood before and was questioned by Pilate. And I'm assuming that's Pontius Pilate. Is that right?
Yes.
Do I have that right?
I don't know.
I know my Jesus.
Jesus, you know your Jesus better than me.
I know. Well, you have the Bible behind you.
Oh, shoot. You want me to look something up?
Yeah, don't mind. Is there an index in the back where you could just look out Pontius Pilate and see where he falls in the Bible? Because the kingdom Jesus came to establish is not of this world. It operates differently. Instead of being about the acquisition and exercise of powers over others, his kingdom advances through the expression of love and the diligent demonstration of power under others. It advances by his, by the way, a pronoun. It advances by his people pouring themselves out and serving. Christian nationalism, by contrast, is an ideology focused on primarily on the identity of our nation. It's about the ongoing development and formation of our country according to the specific cultural template, one that, to be sure, calls attention to certain morals, but seeks to regulate conduct through their imposition and enforcement. So it sounds to me, just by reading that, that there is a difference between Christianity and Christian nationalism. And I would assume that somebody that's a true Christian, somebody that goes to church and they've lived their whole life based on the book of Jesus and the Bible and all that stuff. And again, I those are the people I admire, and I would have no issue with, and I would encourage, them to continue to do that. It seems to me that there's a big difference, and I don't know how they sort of come together with this Christian nationalism thing. I don't know. Do they vote along with it? Do they not vote with it? I don't know, because again, it goes with some of their beliefs, but not how they think, Jesus would be if he were on earth and talking to the people who were part of that whole.
Right. I can't see them agreeing with that. That's like, I can't. I know Christians and they don't agree with this.
Yeah, and it is encouraging. Sometimes you'll see on Twitter, or you'll see on YouTube, or you see whatever. I mean, and you'll see real Christians and go, "This is not us. This is ridiculous." This is, we have our certain beliefs, but our true belief is what Jesus was teaching, and his teaching was love, and his teaching was care, and his teaching was all this stuff. And there's nothing to me about a Marjorie Taylor Greene or some of the people I'm about to play
Right,
clips of
right.
that have this caring or
None,
love in their
none of
heart
it.
for
None of it.
everybody.
None of it. It's just not a Christian bone in their bodies.
The Alabama case you were talking about, Lana, one of the justices, Tom Parker, in his concurring
Mhm,
opinion, this is what he said.
mhm.
Even before birth, all human beings have an image of God, and
Yep,
their lives cannot be destroyed without effacing his glory. That is a judge ruling on this case, and there's no sort of separation. I mean, it's as clear as day that church is 100% behind his ruling. And this is not the country that we built. This is not the
right.
country that most people want. Um,
And they just ignore science. Like what they're saying is just it's stupid. It doesn't make a lick of sense. A fucking embryo is not a fucking child. How can you say that but then in the same breath like no you can't claim it on your taxes. You're saying it's a child. I would argue that that is child abuse to have it frozen and putting in some cryogenic
right.
fucking to whatever tubes these things
Right.
are. Who's babysitting these children? Like it's so
Right.
fucking dumb. It's not a baby. And I heard a woman say this earlier today. One of the women who was scheduled to have IVF and now can't have it. She was like, those are not children. That is a chance. Embryos are a chance
Right.
at a baby. It's a
Right.
chance because it may not happen. That's the other thing. Just because you have an embryo implanted doesn't mean you're going to come out the other side with a baby. So obviously, this is not a child. Like, what the fuck are we
Well, the other
talking
thing
about?
too, Lana, is what if you have embryos frozen? You are able to use, and this is, and forgive me if I'm ignorant on this, but you have embryos used, and you were able to get pregnant, and there are embryos left over, and you don't plan on having any more kids. What do you do with that?
That's the issue. That's one of the issues, right? Because you're saying if you dispose of them, you're murdering children.
Right.
That's
So, what do
so
you
what
keep
it
them
so
forever? Do you
right.
house them forever, or
Exactly. Exactly. Because there you make multiple. You don't just do one embryo for implantation because you want as many as possible to give her a good chance. So if you have five more left, what are you just gonna keep millions and billions of embryos? Like you said, who's paying for that?
And I got to imagine, and I don't know this to be a fact, and this is just something that I thought of. There's got to be some sort of expiration date on
You would
this, right?
you would think, like, what
Yeah,
the fuck? It just that's why it doesn't make any what are we doing it? But and it goes deeper than that because with the embryos, they do DNA testing, right? Because you have to get the best embryos, right? The ones
hmm,
that you think you're not going to implant one that's going to immediately miscarry. So you do these DNA testing. And they're also saying that too is a form of doing something to the child when you're doing the DNA testing. Like, so they're just fucking stupid. It's like they really need to talk to a doctor, and I don't think they want to. They don't want to know. It's just like nana nana boo boo.
yeah,
Fertilization is it's a child. Like it's not a fucking. It's not a child. Let these people do child like claim them on their taxes. They should have
right,
8 deductions right here. If they're actual children, you're saying they're actual children, and you could be charged with murder, then you get to claim them on your taxes. Like what
right,
are you talking about? I get food stamps for them. What
right,
do you mean? Does the man get the does he have to pay child support with these embryos? What if we divorce? Who has custody of the embryos? Do they go with the dad or do are we gonna be in court trying to figure this out? It's just dumb.
Well, I think you said earlier, it's the white male Christians who really want to take over this country. And in fact, here's a clip of Mike
Oh,
Johnson
my hair.
speaking about how this country, what happened to it and why it's so bad, and what they need to change. And obviously, if you listen to the language, you can hear exactly what he feels like needs to be changed in this country.
Late 60s, we invented things like
Remember.
no-fault divorce laws. We invented the sexual revolution. We invented radical feminism. We invented legalized abortion in 1973, where the state, the government, sanctions the killing of the unborn. I mean, we know that we're living in a completely amoral society. And so people say, how can a young person go into their schoolhouse and open fire on their classmates? Because we've taught a whole generation, a couple of generations now of Americans, that there is no right and wrong.
Yep. No fault divorce is the reason why kids are going in and shooting up schools.
Because it's
And
not
radicalized feminism.
not the easy access, right? It's just that can't be a reason. It's like your parents got divorced.
Well, here's where I think this guy is coming from, and part of it is because I've heard real life stories of. I know this young lady, and she has she was in an abusive marriage, and she's very, very religious, and he's one of these guys that are a phony religious guy. He'll go to church every Sunday, but he's an asshole from Monday through Saturday. So she wanted to divorce the guy, and so he convinced her to go talk, and it wasn't to a real therapist, it was a pastor. Now, I'm not saying pastors can't be therapists. Some of them, I'm sure, do a fine job, but the one that they went to was basically telling her that, he's the man and you've got to be good to him. You cannot divorce him. And it was that whole thing. And that's the mentality of these psychopaths that, that's why he mentions radicalized feminism. Radicalized feminism, that's not what it is. Basically, what it is women decided we're as equal as you, and you're not fucking with us. That's really all it comes down to. And guys like him, they don't like that. They're like, no. You're going to be the woman that's going to be in my kitchen cooking, and my dinner's going to be ready when I get home, and you're going to have sex with me whenever I'm ready. And, that's basically, you will never do whatever, you'll never cheat. If I want to go out and cheat, nothing you can do about it. That's exactly what that guy is.
Right. Because they couldn't use birth control either, right? So it's just like baby upon baby upon baby upon baby. It's just like whenever he wanted. And like you said, the man could cheat. They couldn't divorce.
Yeah.
It's just the Catholic religion was awful.
Yeah. Well, if you didn't think he could be one-upped, there was a pastor that was recorded within the last couple weeks. I assume it's the last couple weeks because I just saw this clip. It may have been longer than that. I don't know. I don't care if it was a year, 2, 3, 5 years ago. It doesn't matter. But this is the mentality of these fucking nuts. Listen to this pastor, what he has to say about a woman who might wear short shorts.
Go in those places with shorts than you will women with pants and dresses put together.
Yeah, the women with these shorts and pants, got to be careful with them, Lana. All right, listen to this if you haven't heard this.
If you dress like that and you get raped and I'm on the jury, he's going to go free.
That is fucking crazy.
And it's funny, when he first said the short thing, the first thing I thought about was that he's got a server full of pornography.
This guy is as freaky as they get. He's probably one of those guys that we'll see on Twitter that has a mugshot. And I should say I shouldn't say probably, but I would say I wouldn't be shocked.
Strong, right. I mean, if I was on a jury, I would say, so you're okay with rape because of what she's wearing? Like, who are...
Lana, if I said that at my job, I'd be fired instantly. I'd be fucking fired. He did not just say this at his job. He said this in the house of worship, the house of Jesus.
And I know women, if there were any in that audience, felt funny when he said it. There's no way
Oh, you would hope.
you weren't like, yeah, you right. Like something had to go. Oh.
Well, you notice nobody even really reacted, which I don't know if that,
Right,
and I would
right.
hope that there were some people that said, "Hey, dude, no, I've got
Something
daughters,
wrong
I've
with
got
you.
wives, I've got,
Exactly.
yeah."
Like, who are you to decide? Like, they can't wear shorts? Like, so at 90 degrees, you just don't show your legs? Like, what country are we in right now?
I object to women who don't wear shorts. What do you think about that?
It's just fucking people like that. Like, it's
People are
just
nuts.
vote, everyone.
100%.
Just vote.
100%. Another clip. There's a guy. Do you know Jack Posebic?
No.
He's one of these right-wing nutballs that apparently, I think he's a co-host on the who's that really racist dude? Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA or whatever. And I think they host a lot of these conferences and stuff like that. He is telling us what the plan is for the Republican Party if they get elected. And again, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, why they're so brazen about saying this out loud when they know they're on. This isn't one of these old things where you secretly recorded and maybe some people will hear about it. If you're secretly recorded now, it's going to be blasted all over social media, especially if you have a profile like Jack Posebic does. But this is what he had to say at one of their crazy, batshit crazy conferences.
Hey, look, welcome to the end of democracy.
And by the way, this is that if you see to the very left, that is Steve Bannon, who I've always said has been running this show from day one.
Yeah.
We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. He raised a fist in the air. I don't know what that means other than probably some sort
White
of secret.
power?
Yeah, probably. That's what they're going to replace it with. So that's what we have to look forward to. And, you know, the sad part is, Lana, is I think there's a lot of people who subscribe to what these people are saying, and they think that this is good for them. They think it's just something that they should and will celebrate if all of this happens. First of all, the full fruition of their plan, I really don't see could ever happen, although I don't want to be, naive to the fact that somehow, some way, because, I never thought Donald Trump would be president, but I think they're going to be really disappointed at some point where I don't know what it is they think other than for a short period of time, liberals will be trolled. But outside of that,
if Trump was president, or
yeah, if Trump wins and they
no, I think different. I think all bets are off because he's got the full Republican Party behind him, and the ones that weren't behind him have retired. He has Congress. He's not Supreme Court. He's going to figure out how to get around them and get over them. Like, he's going to do what the fuck he wants to do. He's got Project 25, and they're going to do it.
I think what I was trying to say was, are the people who are voting, I think for a while they think it's going to be good for them, and then they're going to realize that all the plans that they have are not really going to benefit them other than they get to troll liberals on Twitter. I mean, I think
that's all they want, Brian.
Right.
They don't have any plans. Donald Trump doesn't announce policy. These people aren't voting for Trump for policy. These people are voting for Trump to get their white hope in there. They don't care about if he does nothing for them. They don't care if he steals Social Security. They'll just be like, well, we didn't need it anyway. Like, they will be convinced. I don't think that those voters don't care about policy. Like
I think you're right. I do think that a lot of these voters that, you know, are easily brainwashed into this, I do believe at some point they're going to be like, wait, where's my Social Security? I think the only problem is that they'll be gaslighted into thinking somehow the Democrats took it
right,
away from
Joe
them.
Biden did
So
it when he left. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's probably, you know, and so maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe it is possible that, because again, they'll buy into anything.
They
And it's obvious at this
a-
point.
they were asking a woman after one of Trump's speeches about like, do you want a strong man, or what is a strong man? And she's like, yeah, the strong man, he's tough and he can run America. And it's just like, that is not what the fuck a strong man is, right?
No.
A strong man is a whole dictator. Like they don't understand the words that's why they clap at the inopportune moments, because they don't know what he's talking about. They have no
Well, I
idea.
know somebody that asked a girl about Trump, and she was just like, well, I just like the way he talks. And it's just like, you're not voting for favorite professional wrestler. You're
And
voting for president of the United States. And by the way, he talks like a fucking moron. What are you talking about?
you could put a third grader up there
Right.
to talk better than Donald Trump.
No question in my mind.
What the hell? He talks good. He talks like a clown. It's just, oh my God. Where are my African Americans?
Well, here's the thing. And I do, you know, a lot of so people like to go with the polls, and I have people on Twitter coming at me saying, ha ha ha, Joe Biden's down in every swing state. He has zero chance of winning. He has no chance. But you and I talked about this last week. There are so many positive signs as to why Joe Biden probably is going to win. You know, we looked at his fundraising last week, which is record breaking, where the RNC basically has no money. And Donald Trump has no money. Donald Trump is going to have no time to really go out and speak. Although I really don't think that that's that big of a deal, because Donald Trump's just going to be in the news constantly. So he probably doesn't even need that kind of money, because it's always just going to be in your face, because that's what the media loves. And that's what the media's pretty much come down to. But you know, also too, there's a lot of exit polling in these Republican primaries that are showing that Donald Trump is losing some luster. Yeah, he's winning these races, and obviously it looks good for him, but he only won South Carolina by, I think it was less than 20 points. And he was supposed to win by 30 or more. And all these polls are showing that Donald Trump's supposed to win by more. The New York special election was basically tied. And the gentleman, who I forget his name, won by 7 points. You know, so these polls, I think at some point you just got to go to reality and go, the Democrats have won everything since 2016. They really, in a year that they should have gotten obliterated in 2022, they wound up holding on to the Senate and literally barely lost the House. And traditionally, they would have got blown out, but it was close. And, you know, there was, what's her name? That nutball, Lauren Boebert. She only won by like less than, I think it was like 100 votes or something like that.